Hello, my friends. Hello, my friends. Hello, my friends. Hello, my friends. This is Stephanie O'Connell. This is Stephanie. This is Stephanie O'Connell. This is Stephanie O'Connell. And this is Stephanie O'Connell, founder of Positive Change Acceleration. And so today's topic is really about heart-centered and authentic ways to lead and to live. And I actually put together 5 things that I think are super important that I've learned in all my years of leading others, but also I did also teach and do leadership development in 3 of the 4 companies that I worked at. So I have a bit of experience in this space. And I know that authentic leadership, there's a book out and there have been some articles about it, et cetera, et cetera. It's really a very old concept, and it's one of those concepts that I think never goes out of style. Let's put it that way. Authenticity is always appreciated. Authenticity is when we are absolutely genuine and true to ourselves. And let me tell you the benefits of being authentic in your life and as a leader. So why does this matter? Why do we want to be authentic? And I've come up with a couple of reasons why I think it's pretty important. And I will tell you, when I started on this journey a good 5 to 6 years ago, where I wanted to be more authentic, and I wanted to be more authentic in my relationships absolutely improved at work and at home and with my friend group. Why? Because I was being me. It was me being comfortable in my own skin. It was me just bringing forth who I am, not pretending or trying to be anybody else, and just be me. So it definitely helps your relationships, I can tell you that. It also builds trust. Think about it. If I'm trying to be somebody else, then can I really trust you? Can I really trust what Stephanie is thinking and doing in this moment? If I'm trying to be something that I'm not. Trust is around consistency, reliability. I get to know how you think about things, how you feel about things, and I can build some trust, foundational trust with you when I know what to expect. If I show up, different times trying to be something I'm not, that's not going to help build trust. And I definitely saw that in my work experience where people, and by the way, employees know when a leader or someone else is not being authentic. You just know it. So don't do it. Don't do it. Here's my advice for the day. Don't do it. Be authentic. The other thing that I've noticed is I personally am more productive when I am authentic to me. What do I mean by that? There are things that I am just not very good at. There are things I'm really good at. And when I'm authentic about the things I'm not that good at and maybe ask for help or give myself extra time, I'm more productive. I'm absolutely more productive. So I believe when you kind of shed all the masks and all the other ways of being and you just show up as yourself, you actually will be more productive because you have a high level of self-awareness. So reactions to why we want to be authentic. Anybody have any other reasons? Feel free to type it in the chat. Those are the ones that came to my mind of why it's, a pretty good deal to be authentic. So why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? Because we grow up in families, communities, societies, cultures where there are rules on how you need to behave, rules on what you do or don't do. And we start hearing these rules, these programming, so to speak, and to fit in or belong, you start to follow the rules. I was talking with a friend of mine this weekend who her teenage son is, let's say, branching out and exercising some independence. And they have a certain way that they like to do things as a family, and here's this teenager kind of, they're a little bit in conflict. And yes, it's part of a teenager growing their independence, but there's also sometimes this is the way we want to be in this family, and these are kind of the ground rules in this family. And so I totally see how the two can bump up against each other. But I find that if you truly find the rules that work for you, Because again, when we were small, we were kind of taught to follow the rules, and following the rules was a good idea, whether it was in school or at work, etc. Now we're grown-ups, and we can decide what rules we want to play with or not play with, and adjust them. Somebody at my retreat, somebody made a really poignant comment that said something to the effect of, um, if we have challenges from our childhood, that is not on us. We were children, and the influences of our family system may have had some impact on us. So, okay, but now that we're adults, it's on us. I can't play the when I was a child, my mom or my dad did X. Not anymore. You're an adult, and you can absolutely change how you want to live your life and what rules you follow or don't follow or rewrite or throw out the window or whatever it is. And so I'm trying to show with a lot of enthusiasm how empowering I think this is, because you can decide these rules fit for me or don't fit for me. So go for it. You can rewrite your rules. And in my coaching, when I do a lot of leadership coaching, we do quite a bit of talk about what are the rules that you are operating under, and are they still working for you? And should you maybe revisit them or challenge them or do something different? Number 1 to being heart-centered and authentic is you are committed, and you can wear the leader hat right now. So let's say you are a leader. We're all leaders. It's not necessarily a job description. We can lead in our communities, lead in our families, be the leading ladies in our own lives. Leadership applies to who we are. So, first tenet for being heart-centered and authentic is a commitment to bettering yourself. What does that mean? That means you're always interested in growth. You're always interested in learning from things that have happened to you. You want to be better. I shared the story about my divorce during the workshop in February. And one of the things I came to when I was going through the divorce process was I felt I had a choice. I was either going to become bitter or better. Bitter, like angry, bitter about it all happening, or was I going to be better? What was I going to take from it? What was I going to learn from it? How could I be better at relationships, or better and more authentic out of it? And so people who are heart-centered and authentic are committed to bettering, if that's even a word, or make yourself better. They're committed to it. They're committed to it and learning from it. So that's the first tenet, is helping yourself be better and commit to it. Don't make the same mistakes over and over. Don't kind of have all the reasons why you're not being authentic and all the stories and the rationalizations. And here's the thing, I think it was Maya Angelou had an amazing quote, something to the effect of, paraphrasing, I did what I did when I did it. Now that I know something different, I'll do something different. That's all we're saying here. That's all we're saying. It's not about, beating ourselves up from the past of things we did when we didn't know. Let's have peace with the past and say, yes, that happened, but now I've learned, and now I'm going to be better. I'm going to do something different. Okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, heart-centered, authentic leading and living is cultivating self-awareness. Self-awareness. How self-aware are you? It's always interesting to me when I interact with people who really don't appreciate or really know themselves very well. They don't know, for example, when they make a comment a certain way in a room, that they've just deflated everybody and taken the energy out of the room. Just don't even realize that that's the effect that they're having, or don't realize that when they are participating in a group setting, that they're overtaking everybody and interrupting, etc. Just such little self-awareness. And it is so important. because I need to understand when am I being authentic and when am I not, and have enough of that self awareness to do something about it. So let me ask you this, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 meaning I am so self aware, I know so much about myself, how self aware do you think you are right now today? Just take a guess. 5 is, oh my gosh, I know everything about myself. To 1, I probably have a bunch of blind spots. I don't know how well I know myself. Type a number into the comments just so we get a sense. And do this on the replay too. If you're watching the replay, because I'll come back and take a look. What number would you do for yourself? How self aware? How self aware do you think you are? 5 down to a 1. What do you think? I'm just going to take a look over here. 3.5. Very specific. Jesse's very specific. 3.5. I love it. I do think so. We got a 4. We got a 3.5. We got 4s. 4-ish. Yeah, I would say, well, first of all, if you're even interested in coming to a group like this, you're probably interested in learning. You're probably interested in bettering yourself, and you're probably pretty self-aware about some things that maybe you could develop. I would agree. I have a hard time doing a 5 just because I feel like there's always something I'm learning about myself. I'm one of those funky raters that has a hard time giving the top or the bottom. But yeah, you probably do know a lot about yourself. But have you worked with people who don't seem to have a clue? I cannot tell you how many times in my corporate life when I was coaching leaders, and I would say it could be men or women, although often it was more men just because more men happened to be in leadership positions in the companies that I was a part of. And literally, I would give them some feedback. And they would say to me, Stephanie, this is the first time anyone is telling me this. First time. Now, I don't know if that's completely true because I know maybe some other colleagues tried to share the feedback and it just didn't get absorbed. So maybe I was the third, fourth time around and caught this person in a way that they could hear it. But I think a lot of people just deflect feedback. It's like the Teflon frying pan of feedback's trying to come in, give you some self awareness, and boom, it's just going to deflect right back out. That's how some people live. And it's too bad, actually, because I think through self awareness, again, we can have better relationships, we can better ourselves, etc. So, and seeking out insight about how you show up, how you behave, what you could do differently is always a good thing because we always have room to stretch and grow, but we have to be willing to be self aware. So that's number 2. Number 3, and this is one I will say I struggle with, disciplined. Now, what do we mean by discipline? Because I'm not very consistent. I think I've shared that with a lot of people. However, people who are heart centered and authentic leaders work at it. Work at it. And so by discipline, it means, okay, so I've decided that I'm going to listen more to my employees. Let's just use that as an example. Then the discipline is really doing it and tracking in their one-on-ones and getting feedback. Was I listening? Did you experience or did you perceive that I was really listening to you? And I'm just using that as an example. It can be anything that you want to be working on. But are you disciplined to say, I really want to change this? I'm going to change this. And so for me, 5 or 6 years ago, I just got really disciplined about, I want to be authentic. I want to do this in as many places and as many times as I can. And it is not always easy, but I have stuck to it because it was important enough for me to do it. So whatever that is that you pick, there's a discipline factor to doing it. So I don't know how folks feel about discipline. Do you kind of go, ooh? Do you get a little squirmy like me? I don't know. But I do see when I am more intentional. And to me, disciplined is intentional. So you say, for example, let's say you want to run a race of some kind. And you get intentional about it and you say, I want to run this race. I've got to get out and train. That's what I mean by disciplined, is you say you want this, so you take the steps to get there. You don't just say, I want to do this and then hope it happens. You take the steps to get there. So that's the discipline part. So, number 4, mission driven or purpose driven. Why does that matter? Well, what we find is when you have, and some people call this, your purpose or your passion or your mission as a person. Can be for a company. I can align to the mission of a company, but we are all here on this earth for a reason. And we all have a role we can play. We all do. If I'm in the 30s, it's very unnatural for me to be disciplined. Hence, it's hard for me to train a dog because I'm inconsistent. Anyway, not to go on and on about my flaws and my challenges with discipline, but we all have our gifts. But I will say, one of the things I've also been doing for the last 5 or 6 years is to say, what is my purpose work? Why am I here and what am I meant to do to help the greater good? And in that process, you start to think about, well, what are my talents and what are my gifts and what are my strengths? And is there a way I can share that with others somehow? And when you are aligning to those strengths, the things that you are passionate about, the result is authenticity, because it is so true to you. It is so true to you. I mean, I have always been a teacher, coach, healer. Even going all the way back into kindergarten, you could see that I always wanted to help people learn. And it's been a theme in my entire life. And I love it. And I'm passionate about it. And I want to help everybody be the best that they can be. Think about what your passion is and how you can align your energy to it, big or small. That is absolutely going to help you be authentic, because when you can rise above the day-to-day to-do list and the challenges around that and the speed bumps and the obstacles that we hit, if you always have that broader purpose in mind, you really just see it as a speed bump. Like, okay, I'll go around that. I'm still aligned to my purpose work, which is my ultimate destination. And then the journey is more manageable. A lot of schools and programs and employers only do the top 5, but I highly recommend the full report, because I got a lot of insight into what are my talents, what comes naturally to me, and how do I build my purpose work and even my role around that. Now, one of the things I've learned to realize is that over the years, and I was married 24 years before I divorced. I was married 15 years before I had kids. I lost sight of my purpose. I was in, as many of us are, the have to have the job, have to get the paycheck to pay the mortgage, buy the groceries, get the kids what they need for their activities, etc. And I had kind of like put it aside. And then what's hard about that is, so went my authenticity, because what I was doing, I was fine at it. I was good at it, and sometimes I was excellent at it, but it wasn't my passion and my genius coming out. And we all have a genius that we bring. And so, one thing to think about is get back in touch with that passion and purpose work. And if you want to hop on a 15-minute call, I love these conversations. I love helping people uncover their passions and then chart a plan to kind of move your life towards that passion. So please, 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 please message me if you want to have a passion conversation, because I absolutely just love helping people uncover their passion. I love those conversations, because the more people that can get reconnected back with their passion, I believe then the more of us will be authentic and heart-centered, because we're doing what makes our heart sing. Heart-centered to me is doing the things that make your heart sing with, happiness and joy. Okay, last one. The fifth thing that heart-centered authentic leaders do is they inspire others. They inspire others to get reconnected with their passion and their mission. And, foster that, cultivate it. They want people to be inspired to do their best work, etc. And there is an inspiration perspective. For me, a leader is someone who has followers. Basic, simple. And they are willing followers, not I have to follow this leader because it's my job through compliance, right? It's willing followers. Hey, Janet, glad you could make it. They're willing followers. So inspiring others to get to their mission and passion work. And I love to hear, I get messages where people tell me, you inspired me to go take that photography class, or you inspired me to go have that tough conversation with my sister because we've been estranged. And that, I cannot tell you how meaningful that is for me, because I just want everybody to live their best life. And if in some way I gave you the tools and techniques to have courageous conversations, to get reconnected back with your passion, to live more authentically day in and day out, that's what I'm about. That's, to me, what I want to do. So those were my 5 tenets. I'll do a quick rundown of them. For heart-centered authentic leadership is 1, commitment to being better, to bettering yourself. 2, cultivate self-awareness. 3, the discipline word, be disciplined about a plan to get to, act on that self-awareness, whatever you're learning about yourself. 4, be purpose-driven. And 5, inspire others. Inspire others to also be authentic, to also be heart-centered, to bring their passion into their day-to-day, and rewrite the rules so that they work for you. Because again, we're all grown-ups now. So if we want to do things differently, we can. We absolutely can. And I'm going to say bye for now. Take care.